Exercise 12.2, Problem 6, Discussion. So let's read the problem. A bag contains 50 bolts and 150 nuts. Half of the bolts and half of the nuts are rusted. If an item is chosen at random, find the probability that it is rusted or that it is a bolt. Now the first thing which you have to see is or. Rusted or that it is a bolt. In exercise 12.1, we will be asked to find the probability of a rusted item, or the second part will be finding it a bolt. Both together they have never asked. So whenever they say or, it is probable that using that addition theory, union B equal to probability of A plus probability of B plus minus probability of A intersection B. So that's the first hint you have to pick up. Now what does it say? It has 50 bolts, 150 nuts, and half of the bolts and nuts are rusted. That is 25 bolts and 75 nuts are rusted. Okay, so how many rusted items are there? 25 plus 75, 100 rusted items are there. Total number of items is 200. So probability of selecting a rusted item is 100 divided by 200. Right? Then probability of selecting a bolt is 50 divided by 200. And then A and B, because once we say A union B, you have to have A and B. So rusted bolt. So rusted bolt is half of it, right? So 25 divided by 100. So then basically after that it is substituting all those values in the formula and calculating it. Okay. So this is how this problem will be worked out. Now let's get into the details. So let's list out. The number of bolts is 50. Number of nuts is 1. That is half the bolts means 25 bolts are rusted and half of 150, 75 nuts are rusted. What are we asked to calculate? Probability of choosing a rusted item, actually it's missing, rusted item or a bolt. Okay, what's the formula? Probability of A union B equal to probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A intersection B. So A will be selecting a rusted item, B will be selecting a bolt. Okay, now let's, and the other formula is probability of A is N of A divided by N of S. Okay, right. First step, find N of S, which is the number of bolts plus nuts. So here it is 50 plus 150, 120. Let A be the event of getting a rusted item and B be the event of getting a bolt. Got it? Right. So this is the trick. So you see rusted. So one of this is A, the other one is B. Find N of A, which is the number of rusted bolts plus number of rusted nuts. They say it's rusted. So they didn't say it's rusted bolt or rusted nut. So it's both put together. So rusted item means it can be rusted bolt or a rusted nut. Okay, and N of B, which is the number of bolts, and N of A intersection B is, see, this is rusted item and the other one is bolt. So A intersection B will be rusted bolts. Okay, so now we have defined all the three. So, and then after that we will have to calculate. Okay, okay, sorry, I missed to tell you. So you have to find N of A. In this case is rusted bolts plus rusted items. That is what I was telling earlier. So rusted bolts is half of this 25 and rusted nuts is half of this 75. So 75 plus 25, 100. And the number of bolts, yes, you know that it is straight away 50. And number of rusted bolts, half of this, that is 25. Okay. So now we have N of A, N of B and N of A intersection B. Then find probability of A. Probability of A is N of A divided by N of S. Similarly, find probability of B and probability of A intersection B. What is probability of B? N of B divided by N of S. Probability of A intersection B, N of A intersection B divided by N of S. Once you have this, substitute all these values in this formula. Probability of A union B, which is what we want. What is that? Probability of rusted or a bolt. Alright, A is a rusted item, B is a bolt. So probability of getting a rusted or a bolt is probability of A, which is probability of selecting a rusted item, plus probability of B, which is probability of getting a bolt, minus probability of selecting a rusted bolt. So substitute here and get the value of probability of A union B. Okay, so let's get going with the solution. Given number of bolts equal to 50. number of nuts equal to 150. So n of s, the total number of items is 50 plus 150, that is 200. Now, what it also says, half of the bolts and nuts are rusted. So, half of the bolts are rusted. So, number of bolts rusted is half of 50, that is 25. Similarly, number of rusted nuts is half of 150, that is 75. Next, let A be the event of choosing a rusted item. So, rusted item means what? It can be a rusted bolt or a rusted nut. So, how many items are there? For A, you have rusted bolt is 25, rusted nut is 75. So, totally n of A is 100. What is the probability of A? N of A divided by N of S. N of A is 100. N of S is 200. So, it is 100 by 200. Don't simplify this because you will be getting everything in terms of divided by 200, right? Probability of B, probability of A intersection B. And finally, you can simplify it. Okay. Next, let B be the event of choosing a bolt. How many bolts are there? 50. Right? 50 bolts are there. Right. Next, probability of B is N of B divided by N of S. We just saw N of B is 50. N of S, we know it is 200. So, it's 50 divided by 200. Next, number of rusted bolts, because now we want to find A intersection B, N of A intersection B. That is, A is rusted item, B is bolt. So, it is rusted bolt. So, we need to know the number of rusted bolts. How many rusted bolts? Total number of bolts is 50. Half of it is rusted. So, half of 50 is 25. Right. So, N of A intersection B is how many rusted bolts are there. So, that is 25. That is selecting a rusted bolt. So, probability of selecting a rusted bolt is N of A intersection B divided by N of S. That is 25 and N of S is 100. Now, you substitute all these values. Now, earlier we have calculated probability of A, probability of B and probability of A intersection B. Substitute all these three, you should be able to get the value. 50 by 200 is probability of A, probability of B is 100 by 200, probability of A intersection B we just calculated, that is 25 by 100. So, substituting all these things, we get 50 plus 100, 150 minus 125, it's 125 by 200. The denominator is the same. So, that's why I am adding and subtracting the numerator straight away. And 125 by 200 is 25 will go 5 times, 25 will go 8 times. So, it is 5 by 8. Thus, the probability of choosing an item which is bolt or rusted is 5 by 8. Okay. I hope I made it clear. If not, please go through this problem one more time and get going. Thanks for watching this video.